Hello everybody, Old Man McGamer here with another video on Wave the Hunter. Hope everybody's doing well and enjoying their time in this game. I know that I certainly have. For today's episode, we've got a couple of tips to help you start your hunt from A to Z. So we're going to go over some scouting, how to plan, and some different hunting techniques. So starting off with number one, scouting. What I tend to do is take a look at the map, and if there's areas that are still grayed out, I tend to focus on those. I've had a lot of luck just walking through the mountains, areas that I wouldn't think would be beneficial, so they turned out to be quite fruitful. So check out your wind direction, plop down a marker, and head on out. Primarily the two zones I've had the most success with are the drinking zones as seen here. One quick note on these, because one area may appear to be only for one animal species. That's not always the case, so I tend to spam. And then the other zones are the eating zones. So for herbivores, they'll appear as those little trees, and for bears at least, you'll get this pile of logs. So after you've done your scouting, it's time to start planning. So what you need to identify first is what type of animal are you after today. So really important whenever you're selecting your gear to get out there into the wild. So this game has a couple of different tiers of animals, as you can see on the screen right now, 1 through 6 with the omission of 4, so maybe they'll introduce something at a later date. And then ensuring that the hunting tier on the bottom right hand side matches up to the animal that you're after. So for tier 5, I tend to go with the 308. Pretty reliable rifle. Have no gripes with it whatsoever. Been good to me so far. And then for tier 6, so your moose, bear, and elk, I'm really loving the 300 Win Mag. Great rifle. But if I'm feeling like doing some lawn and range hunting, the Carbon CL2 is pretty much the best. It's just a beast in this game if you feel like sniping. For ducks, I do like the Jack 1502. Pretty expensive, so I'd hold off on that one if you can. For optics, big fan of the Leopold. Crosshair's a little bit wonky on it, or the sight, but still like it. And if you're on a budget, nothing wrong with the Overguard. Great starter scope. This one I used until I got enough money in the bank to get the Leopold. Now, collars are such a key point in this game, so whenever you're planning your hunt, you choose your animal. Make sure you've got a couple of collars for not only that species, but whatever else is in the region. Really important, too, that you try and use the collar as much as possible, even for open shots. Use the collar first, get that strategist perk all the way up, and then you'll eventually be able to call in some level 5s. Moving over to hunting techniques, we'll talk about stalking for a bit, which is my preferred method. Recipe doesn't change. Choose your animal. Just this time, choose the need zone and the time. Be mindful of that, then fire open that map. Take a look at the wind and plan an approach where you're going to be walking into the wind. So in this case, we've got moose. We've landed on moose during an eating zone in the evening. Got the appropriate rifles. Now what we're doing is we're going around highlighting all the animal icons on the map. There's a couple bears there too. Doesn't really hurt, if we're walking that general direction. I think there's a bit of overlap between the bear and the moose eating times. And place markers down on each one of those need zones. And then whenever you're ready to go, you got everything mapped out, head over to the closest campsite or cabin and rest up. 1726, close enough. So once you're ready to go, get out there, and as we mentioned in previous videos, always important to take a look around and scan your environment. There's a lot of rendering distance in this game, unlike other hunting games, so it's not uncommon to spot something 5, 6, even 700 meters away. Always be diligent. Scan. A lot of nice animals have popped up seemingly out of nowhere. Just take your time, enjoy the game. It's a beautiful game as well. Once you're ready to move, again, you're going towards all those waypoints. So I tend to focus on the one that's closest to me and then making my way around. As you approach, try not to run. Try and walk as much as possible. And this is the first one that we hit up. Lo and behold, we got a couple of, geese on the way. Just chilling out on the banks, and then right around the need zone, we spot a couple of moose. Now, you see the animal, take your time, get down in a crouch, scout it out. If there's one, there's probably going to be a couple of more. So don't forget 150 meters. In this case, 200 moose tend to spook a little bit easier. Get down in that crouch position. So I'll let the music take it away for a bit, and you can see how I approach animals while I'm stalker hunting. So here come the collars again. You know, if you're stalker hunting and they're not coming out of the bush or whatever coverage they're under, use the collars. 9 times out of 10, they will come out. Again, when you're taking your shot, be sure that you're zeroed in at the appropriate distance. Use R1 or right bumper to mark the distance of the animal. It'll help for blood splatter and recovery. And then take that shot. Now, you're probably going to spook a herd or two, and if that does happen and there's a big sexy 5-star in there, don't panic. Try and identify the furthest echolocation and distance the animal's traveled in, fire open your map, and put down a couple of markers and try and get one in at the approximate distance of the last known location. 9 times out of 10, they will be in that area. And that brings us to stand hunting. I've got some mixed results, but still a good time, just a little bit more slow pace. So recipe doesn't change. You still got to select your animal, the need zone, take note of the time that they're going to be at that need zone. Only difference is you need to show up a little bit earlier, not to spook them if they're at the zone by the time you get to the stand. So a safe bet is about 30 minutes before they're supposed to arrive. In this case, we're going to take a look at the black bear. So we're going to be arriving just before they're at that drinking zone. Again, check your wind. Make sure that when you're in the stand, your scent's not going to be blown over, especially if it's a small lake like this. It's not going to take a lot of wind. In terms of travel time, I found that it's usually about 3 minutes in game per 100 meters. So if you're trying to plan out when you should be waking up or not, that's a rough estimate. So hopefully that helps you out without having to waste an entire day trying to get that stand hunt going. So once you're there, scan, take a look around. You're not really moving, so your eyes are your weapon in this case, and your ears as well. Sometimes you're going to be able to hear the animal approach, especially if it's a larger animal. like in this case with this black bear that we're about to hear coming through the bush. So there we go. Now, just like stalking, if the animal, and this one I believe is here for quite some time, I just fast forwarded through, I think was about 15 minutes in game. Bear wasn't moving, so you got to bust out that trusty collar. And after a couple of calls, this bear will eventually move into us. So in this case, I wound up not taking my own advice. If you take a look at the gun, it was my level 5 slot, not level 6. And my zeroing is way off, so the shot goes way too high. I noticed for the second one, trying to aim a little bit lower, but did not bring that black bear home, unfortunately. Came back to the site at a different date, different scope as well. Saw this little red fox, who I usually wouldn't have hunted under regular circumstances, but still a little bit upset about the bear. So if you're liking the content, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments about the videos or about the game itself, put them down in the comments section. I'll be sure to get back to you. Until next time, happy hunting, everybody. Take care.